Shalom Aleichem, everyone. A good Erev Shabbos, and we are continuing here in Hachzeg's learning of the Pele Yoetz, day 51, a one-day chapter, small, maybe in words, but very big in the concept called Chinuch. This is the way in which a parent should raise their children. Ksiv, it says in Mishlei, famously, Chanoich lenar al pi darkai. You should be mechanich, you should raise and educate your child al pi darko, according to his way, not my way. I have my own derech, I have my own neshama, I have my own midos, my own struggles, my own accomplishments, my own achievements, my own mission. That's my way. But when it comes to my child, I cannot impose my way on top of them. Rather, chanoich lenar al pi darko, you should raise and you should educate and you should train, so to speak, your child al pi darko, according to their way. Gam ki yaskin, because if you do such a thing, even when they get older, lo yaser mimeno, they will not turn away from the derech, their path that you help them to discover and help them to go on. This is the role of a parent. The role of a parent is to understand your child, to be able to appreciate who they are, to see their strengths and their weaknesses, their pluses and their minuses, what they do good and what they struggle with, their successes and their challenges, and find their derech, help them find their derech, their path, and help them to walk along in it properly. And then, if you do that, when they get older, you don't have to worry, says the Pele Yoetz, is quoting the words of Shlomo HaMelech, they will continue to walk along the beautiful derech, the pathway that they themselves have charted because you help them along that way. Everybody needs their derech. Of course, there's the ultimate derech of Hashem. There's the ultimate derech of Torah and of mitzvahs. There's the derech of good midos and the like, but each person has their own yachas, their own connection to it. Our goal as parents is to help our children find that and discover that and feel good about that as well. This is the mitzvah of a father on a son. You have to be mechanech them, to educate them in Torah and mitzvahs. This is the great the great fruits that we will reap from our children. Raise them to Torah and avodah and serving Hashem. Because if God forbid you have children that are mashchisim, destructive children, it's better that they should not be around than to be around with all of the bad that they are doing. And just like you have an obligation to raise your children properly in the world of Torah and of mitzvahs, you must raise them in derech eretz, the proper behavior and the like. And good straight midas, that they are replete and they are crowned with beautiful midas. In such a way that anyone that sees them says, "Ooh, wow, look, this is a child that is a offspring of those that are blessed by the Rabbi Shalom." And so too, says the Pele Yoetz, raise your children to be able to live and exist on less. Histamkus, they're satisfied with even a little bit. They should not be wild after good food. And nice, fancy clothing. Even if HaKadosh Baruch Hu blessed you with wealth and riches, help your children to be satisfied with even a little bit, in order that it will not create and fester inside of them. Times when they are going to be bitzar, they're going to be in pain and anguish because they couldn't get everything they want. Now, this is a very difficult aspect in our generation. We live in a very luxurious world. Even those that don't have everything that they want and everything they need, The basics already are more than most people ever had in the history of the world. You have air conditioning, you have a heater, you have your own bed, you have a comfortable pillow, you have food in the fridge and food in the pantry, and you can go out to dinner every once in a while and get yourself a snack, and there's nash filling the pantries, and you have in yeshivas the nash and the cakes and the pizzas and the this and the hot dogs and the ham. You have everything. So how does a child today learn how to just be happy with a little bit? So whatever we could do to not increase and give more than is necessary, that's what a parent should try to do. Someone, a parent that wants to be mechanech, raise his children and accustom them to the derech tovim, a good and a proper way. So says the Pele Yoetz, lo yara lehem panim, don't show them too much favor. Now remember the Pele Yoetz is going back over 100 years ago, and perhaps the approach of chinuch bizman hazeh today is going to be different than this very harsh kind of a world that the Pele Yoetz is going to describe right now. So just keep in mind what he's saying. I think that we spoke about this earlier in the Sefer as well. We'll listen what he says first, and then we'll try to put it into our perspective for our times. Rather, don't show them too much favor. You should always hit them. You should rebuke them with your words. So that the child will not become haughty. And you should not show them excessive favor. But, oh, my wonderful son, you're amazing what you did. Keep it tempered, says the Pele Yoetz. Even if he's your only child. Show him open rebuke. And you should show him love, a hidden kind of a love. It shouldn't be, don't overdo it. Until he grows up. Once he gets older, then you can, meaning older, doesn't say exactly what age that means over here, but when he's mature enough to be able to appreciate, he already went in his derech, he's in his path, he's a wonderful, spiritual, emotional, strong person, according to Pele Yoetz, then you can show him extra love and the like. He has someone who withholds the rod from his son. He doesn't whack him when he needs a good zetz. It shows that he hates his son. You let your son get away with bloody murder. You don't have any control over him. He's a wild animal doing whatever he wants. You didn't give him teichacha. You didn't rebuke him. You didn't put him in his place. You didn't hit him. So then you must not really love your son. The one who loves his son will discipline him when he's in his youth. And he brings a proof from Dovid HaMelech, King David, Avshalom, his son Avshalom, who rebelled against his father. His father never made Avshalom sad in his life. Avshalom, why did you do such a thing? So the Pele Yoetz is a big person, and he can say big things, that he's claiming that Dovid HaMelech made a mistake in his chinuch habanim. He did not reprimand, and he did not mechanech, and did not rebuke his son enough, and that's why he turned in to the son that was rebelling against his father and tried to kill him to take away the throne. And his mother also, the hands of the nashim rachmanios, the hands of the merciful women. It's a pasuk from Eicha speaking about the destruction of Yerushalayim, the Beis Hamikdash, when these poor women had to end up cooking their own children to eat them because they had no food. But he's saying it over here stylistically that nashim rachmanios, when mothers have too much pity and compassion on their children, bishlu yaldei, and they cook their children, they destroy their children. And that's what he's saying over here, that a person has to have discipline. He has to be able to show the strong force to the child, so the child should not get away with anything that he wants. There is foolishness that is attached to the heart of a young person. And therefore you need the staff of Musa, of discipline, to distance the foolishness away from the heart of this kid. V'akol v'daita shall ben, everything goes according to the das, to the understanding of the child. Ulevi shanav yigalgil imoy, and so too to his age. Each age is going to require different things. Sometimes you have to hit him. Sometimes you have to give strong rebuke. Sometimes very strong and harsh. Sometimes soft and gentle. Sometimes you give him gifts and you shower him with these things. Sometimes good things you give him. You have to know your son. You have to know your child, what he needs, what he doesn't need, and do it in the right way. Now again, this is the Pele Yoetz over 100 years ago. It was a different world. People were tough as nails. Even the kids, they were strong and they were resilient. They could handle things. We live in a very delicate, fragile world, and we have to be careful. Teichacha in general, rebuke to one's child, criticism, even if it's constructive, it devastates them and hurts them. You're not going to show them favor. You're not going to show them love. You're not going to hugs and kisses. I love you, so wonderful. You're amazing. You might have a child who grows up very cold and not know how much he's loved by his parents. In the olden days, they still knew how much the parents loved them, and it made them stronger, and it gave them more will, and they accomplished what they needed to accomplish in their mission in life. Bisman Azeh, you have to see and consult your chinuch experts in your life, but our kids need a lot of love. They need a lot of attention. They need a lot of acceptance, a lot of understanding, a lot of appreciating who they are, even their faults, and not ridiculing them and criticizing them as a result of that. You'll turn them off and turn them away and push them away, Rahman al-Islam. And therefore, perhaps what the Pele Yoetz says is not always going to apply to us, but keep it in mind. There are very valuable lessons that he's talking about. Number one, don't overindulge our children. Number two, with the luxuries and the finer things of this world. And number two, there's got to be some level of discipline. They just cannot be these wilde chayas, wild animals running around doing whatever they want. There has to be some kind of responsibility to take, and they have to answer for their actions and the like. But again, it has to be done with ava, with love, with understanding, with warmth, with hugs, with kisses, with special time alone with your children, to take them out to a restaurant every once in a while. Just one kid, not all the kids at once, just one of them. Let them know how precious and valuable they are to you, so on and so forth. Now, he writes, you should also be mechanech them. You have to raise them in the kavod abrius, in the way that they should be honorable to others. They cannot be brazen, and stiff-necked and obstinate. They should be those that are insulted, but they never insult back. Low-key, if you have the ability, keep them away from bad friends. Uminashvois and swearing. Uminaschoik and from too much levity. Uminakir from lowly things. Uminademel and things that are similar to that. Try to keep your kids on the right path. You need a lot of wisdom and knowledge. To go deep into the kishkes of your child. And you work with them and help them what is fitting for them according to their das, their knowledge, their understanding, in their age. No matter what, says the Pele Yoetz, the only way you know that you can be successful is pour out your nefesh, your soul to the Ribbon Hashem, daven to Hashem. That the sins that this child has done should not withhold the good from him. She calls Zaru Zera Kodesh Kedashim. All of my offerings should be Kodesh HaKedashim, the Holy of Holies. Zera Nashim, they should be the offspring of Anashim, of men, which means that they should be upstanding people in this world. Says the Pele Yoetz, you got to daven and daven and daven more. They tell over the famous Maisa with the stipler. They once came to the stipler, the father of Chaim Kanievsky, and said, "No, how were you zeicher to such a son?" And this time, Chaim was already about 50 years old. And the stipler said, "I'm still davening for him." And therefore, as parents, we got to daven and daven and daven again for the siyata d'shmaya to raise them be'ezus Hashem in the right way.